have a look at this storybook. It's called A Walk in Paris, and it's by Salvatore Rubino. We might find some of the places we looked at on our virtual tour of Paris the other week. There's the right bank and the left bank. Love the illustrations in this book. Okay. Hello, this is me and that's my granddad. We're in Paris. We've just come up from the metro at Place Maubert. And we've got some facts as well. So there's a story and there's some information. It says another name for Paris is the City of Light. You can buy tickets for the metro at any station. Some shops and newspaper stands sell them as well. And Place Maubert is in the Latin Quarter of Paris, south of the River Seine. I wonder what all those crates are for. You'll see, promises Grandad with a smile. There's the crates. They're full of fruit and vegetables. It's market day in the square. Shoppers like to visit their favourite stalls, Grandad says, chatting and asking questions while they choose. I get some tasty cheese to try. Here's all different stalls. Stallholders at a market know a great deal about food and how to cook it. Place Maubert is home to one of Paris's oldest street markets. Got all these different shops up here. You can see we've got the fromagerie, and fromage is cheese, vin, which is wine, boulanger, the bakery, and then the brasserie. Well, we have brasserie in England, but that's like a restaurant. And down here we've got some French language. S'il vous plaît means please, merci means thank you, and bonjour means hello. Au revoir means goodbye. Street markets are found all over Paris, selling the freshest ingredients. They open on different days, so if you want to visit one, you need to check first. Did you know there are more than 400 cheeses in France, from the creamiest brie to the smelliest Roquefort? We walk down a street where the houses lean together, to one where they stand apart. This kind of road is much newer, Grandad tells me. It's called a boulevard. It's really wide and busy. We'd better cross quickly before the lights change. Now, in medieval times, building stone was mined from under the city of Paris. 300 kilometres of underground tunnels remain. The Emperor of France asked Baron Haussmann to rebuild Paris in the 19th century. Haussmann designed wide, straight boulevards where all the roofs and balconies line up. He also improved Paris's water supply and sewage system and created beautiful parks. I've just seen a street cleaner turn a big key. Now there's water gushing out of the curb. Mind your feet, Grandad, I say. We have these special taps all over Paris, the other man explains. They give us water for cleaning right on the street. Wallace fountains, like these ones, are a familiar sight in Paris. They're positioned on busy pavements and in squares. Throughout the summer, they provide clean drinking water to anyone who needs it. Parisian street cleaners wear green uniforms and drive green vans. Even their brooms are green. Paris has two water systems, water for drinking and water for cleaning, running through separate pipes. The boulevard leads to a square where everyone stops. It is very well known, says Grandad. Good friends in France might exchange 3 or 4 kisses when they meet, that's on the cheek, or just shake hands. The Latin Quarter has been a home to students since the Middle Ages. Paris's university, the Old Sorbonne, was founded in this area and dates from the 13th century. People often meet their friends by the fountain at Place Saint-Michel. Place Saint-Michel stands at the heart of the Latin Quarter. Someone over here is saying salut. So salut is a more casual word for hello. It's like saying hi. Round a corner we find the River Seine. What's that big church on the island, I ask. The Cathedral of Notre Dame, Grandad replies. Would you like to climb up and see the view? That's the one we looked at before, the one that's had the really big fire not that long ago. So ordinarily, when it's not damaged, you can climb up to the Chimara Gallery or the South Tower to see the view of Paris from Notre Dame. And it was here that Napoleon crowned himself emperor in 1804. The cathedral's great bell, the biggest bell with the deepest sound, is called Emmanuel. It hangs in the South Tower belfry. So this island, Ile de la Cité, is the oldest part of the city, and people first settled here more than 2,000 years ago. And all along the river, you'll find that there's lots of bookstores, and they've lined the sides of the river since the mid-16th century. And down the bottom, we've got a long queue. And actually, in French, they use the word queue, or queue is how they say it, but it means tail, which is just what it looks like. So the tail of an animal. We have to queue for quite a long time. But it's worth it. It's lovely and breezy up here. Grandad points out some landmarks. The tallest building we can see is called the Eiffel Tower. There it is, can you spot it? And here's the river. 37 bridges cross the River Seine in Paris. The oldest is called Pont Neuf. And we're looking out across Paris from Notre Dame. So these statues of beasts are called chimaras. They're made up of body parts from different creatures. And Notre Dame's Chimara Gallery is 46 metres above the ground. You can see the Arc de Triomphe, which was in our virtual tour, le Sacré-Cœur, the Louvre Museum, Montmartre. We make our way back down to the ground and over another bridge. Paris has 2 islands, Grandad explains. This is the little one, Ile Saint-Louis. We settle down close to the water's edge. A boat passes by, so I wave. Careful, Grandad laughs. Don't fall in. And Ile Saint-Louis is famous for its ice cream parlours. And coming along the river, we've got a bateau mouche. I've been on one of those actually. And they take visitors on tours all along the river in big boats. And they're called bateau mouche. And you can see just on the end here, you can see that's the French flag. And the French flag is known as the tricolore, which means 3 colours, blue, white and red. The whole of Paris south of the river is called the left bank. North of the river, it's called the right bank. And there's Notre Dame again. It took almost 200 years to build it. So the bigger island, this is the smaller island, Ile Saint-Louis, where the ice cream parlours are. And on the bigger island, it's called Ile de la Cité. We've crossed onto the right bank of the river. Paris has style, don't you think? Grandad asks as we pass a smart hairdresser's shop. I think there are lots of ways to wear your hair. Coiffeur is hairdressers. Chic is another word for stylish. The poodle is often thought of as France's national dog. And Paris is a centre for fashion. Haute couture clothes are made to measure rather than bought in a shop. No wonder I'm hungry, it's 1 o'clock. We find a cosy bistro for our lunch. You can see the plat du jour, it's like the specials. The plat du jour is the chef's special dish of the day, it says there. Parisian waiters are highly trained professionals. You could have steak frites, which is steak with French fries. That's a very popular choice in a bistro. And most cafes and restaurants in Paris are happy to welcome dogs. It's a very dog-friendly country, France. So a bistro is a small restaurant, often family-run, that serves traditional food. And a brasserie, which we saw earlier on in the book, also serves traditional food, but it's usually much bigger than a bistro. There we have a everyone enjoying their food. Then we're ready to explore the Marais. This is a giant doorway. It has to be wide enough for a horse and carriage, Grandad explains. That's how people travelled years ago. We turn down one street after another, and I think we might be lost. So the Marais was once a marshland, and now it's a fashionable part of the city. It's full of shops, cafes and restaurants. Until Grandad points to a strange-looking building. Here we are. Let's go round the front, he says. It's called the Pompidou Centre. And look, it has all its pipes and escalators on the outside. I think it's formidable. Formidable is French for wonderful. The Pompidou Centre is a famous gallery for modern art. Important parts of the building are colour-coded. Escalator shafts and lifts are painted red. The architect's idea was to help people understand how a building works. Some artists work outside the Pompidou, drawing portraits on the pavement. Move it down a bit, you can see that. Someone drawing on the pavement there. We've walked a long way on a broad, busy road when we come to a window full of cakes. Which one would you like? Asks Grandad. That one, and that one, I say. This kind of shop is called a patisserie, a specialist bakery selling pastries and cakes. Every tart, profiterole and eclair is created by a master pastry chef. And over the street there's a cafe. It says cafes are an important part of Paris life. They often have tables on the pavement. You can see here there's an Eiffel Tower made of cakes, like macarons. We turn into a courtyard with a pyramid in the middle and rows of tall, grand buildings round the side. A tour guide is talking to her group. This is the Louvre Museum, she says. Its treasures include a famous painting called the Mona Lisa. I see the Mona Lisa, I tell Grandad. She's on that poster over there. Can you spot the poster? The Mona Lisa is one of Leonardo da Vinci's best-known paintings. Her eyes are said to follow you round the room. Napoleon liked the picture so much that he hung it in his bedroom. So the Louvre Museum is housed in the buildings of an ancient palace, and then it has this more modern pyramid on the outside. The main entrance to the Louvre is through the glass pyramid. Visitors take a lift or staircase down to a hall, then choose which building to enter from underground. The pyramid and the little pyramids nearby are made of glass and steel, and they were built in 1989. And within sight of the Louvre is the Eiffel Tower. We rest in the Tuileries Gardens. Grandad enjoys his favourite view, while I make a friend by the water. The view is of the Triumphal Way, which is 9 kilometres long and runs in a straight line through Paris. Two important sites along the route are Place de la Concorde, with its obelisk, and the Arc de Triomphe. Down here we've got some people playing a game called Boule, and Boule is a classic French game where each player tries to throw his boule as close as he can to the little one. The trees in the Tuileries Gardens are trimmed regularly to keep the view clear. The head gardener checks that all the flowering plants range between 70 centimetres and 1.2 metres in height. And you can drag your chair wherever you want in the Tuileries garden. And take a seat. Every spring and autumn, the gardens are planted with up to 70,000 plants and bulbs. Then Grandad says, we need to find a metro station. So just before they go, you can see this Tuileries Garden is famous because the first manned hydrogen balloon, can you see that? There it is, there's a balloon, took off from the Tuileries Gardens in 1783, and at least half the population of Paris turned out to watch. Now, tile-making workshops, which is what Tuileries means, occupied this piece of land until the mid-16th century, when it was turned into a formal garden by Catherine de Medici. We listen to a cheerful tune waiting for our train. "Where are we going?" I ask, but he won't tell me. "It's a surprise," he says. So here's the Metro, which is very similar to our underground system in London, if you've ever been on that. And the first metro line in Paris was opened in 1900. The word metro is short for metropolitan. Paris has the second busiest underground system in Europe. That's after Moscow. Where's Moscow? Yeah, you're right, it's in Russia. So some of the metro trains have rubber wheels, which make them feel bouncy inside. Many metro lines in Paris follow the course of the streets above. The sky's getting dark when we come up from the metro. Grandad buys me a souvenir from a kiosk by the station. It's one of the lots of little kiosks like that. The word souvenir means memory in French. "Do you remember the Eiffel Tower?" he asks me. "We saw it from Notre Dame." I look up. Oop. Now this is difficult to get on camera. There it is. And I find myself face to face with the real Eiffel Tower. It's enormous and fizzing with lights. It's bathed in golden light from dusk onwards. Then for 5 minutes at the start of every hour, 20,000 extra light bulbs sparkle on and off. At 324 metres, including the antennae, the Eiffel Tower is the tallest building in Paris. The Eiffel Tower sways a little in strong winds. It can also grow taller or shorter by up to 15 centimetres, depending on the temperature. And double-decker lifts carry visitors to the top. Now, the Eiffel Tower was built by Gustave Eiffel and completed in 1889. The construction was a feat of engineering, taking only 2 years, 2 months and 5 days. Since the 1960s, the tower has been painted light brown to match its surroundings. Its earlier colours have included deep red and canary yellow. The tower weighs 10,100 tonnes. And many of Paris's monuments, churches, statues, fountains and bridges are also lit up at night. We stay till the end of the show. Can we come back one day? I ask Grandad as we leave. I'd like that, he says. When I get home, I tell him, I'll make a souvenir for you. Then you'll always remember our walk in Paris. Merci and au revoir. There's the souvenir. Lovely picture. Super. And because this is part fiction, part non-fiction, we've also got a really handy index at the back there. So you can go to the different places and find the right page and find out about the different places in Paris. Bravo! Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much for listening.